let's say somebody has been cheating on you with 5 women a month. Now it's 3. Are you going to...
Oh, that's lovely.
That's progress. Are you going to wait
and,
it out?
And I can see that there's been effort.
Because there's chlamydia.
I can see that there's effort. And maybe
there's
next month he can reduce to 1.
Maybe he has a baby.
Hi guys, Murugi Munyi here.
It's Lydia KM.
And we're back again with another episode of
The Messy In Between.
It's definitely
TMI. That is energy from 2 people who wanted to be asleep on this rainy Thursday. But we've had a face beat, and we're looking cute. And look at us.
There's something about a face beat that just like, I can conquer.
If we didn't,
I can conquer, you'd
be able to come straight from bed and be like,
I was just like, I was sitting there, you know that reel that goes like, what if I just...
Yeah. What if I just...
Switch off my phone. If I just switch off, I'll just be like, oh my God, Mutana is just really you. I mean, at least I have. You, what would you say?
I collapsed. No, I collapsed and there was no one to come and get me.
It's not like your kid collapsed.
I collapsed.
Unacceptable. No, it has to be kid related.
It has
for
to be
it to be excusable. That's the thing.
Yeah. Israel.
Who you don't live with.
I went to their house and then that happened.
Israel is her nephew, by the way, in case you don't follow her on Instagram, which you should follow her on Instagram. Anyway, guys, welcome to a brand new episode of TMI Podcast. We are so happy that you could join us. If this is your first time here, please subscribe. Please subscribe because we are starting. You will enjoy the content, and we feel like this should be like quid pro quo. Okay, we give you guys something really great content, and you give us something. Just subscribe. That's all you have to do. It costs nothing. It takes literally, I don't know, maybe 1 MB of your data, and it will really, really help our channel. So please do subscribe. We would appreciate that. Also follow us on our social media: TMI Podcast KE, Murugi Munyi, Lydia KM. We usually use our platform there to build on the content that we are talking about here. So even like during the week, if you always feel like, why do they only have episodes on Wednesdays? When I feel like when you follow us, it's kind of like you have episodes all week. Yeah, you'll be because you're kind of chatting with people, you're getting content. And then also like for episodes we are planning to shoot, we'll ask you questions and we'll engage you so that even when you watch the episode, you're like, hey, that's my point.
Yes, 100%. It's so worthwhile following us on social media.
It feels more intimate.
Yeah,
it does. Absolutely. So what are we talking about today, please, my princess?
So today, this is a topic that Joe came up with. And for whatever reason, I somehow struggled with it. But the second I saw the feedback, it was so interesting, but I don't know if I was getting it right.
Yeah.
But then I got it right.
Then you got it. Okay.
Anyway, today we're going to be talking about things we are unlearning.
Yeah.
Because as we are growing, yes, you are learning how to be better with money. You are learning how to do your makeup. You're learning how to take care of your health, your skin, whatever, secure the bag. But there are things that we need to unlearn as well. And this is inspired by a point that Murugi had made on one of the episodes where she was saying that we need to unlearn some of our gender roles. So like how I was saying that, you know, my man can't wear a dress.
Oh,
but where did I learn that? Where did I learn that men don't wear dresses, that men don't cry? So we are going to be talking about some of the things that we are unlearning, because when you're growing up, you have so much conditioning, right?
Yeah.
Gender roles, how to deal with money, who you are as a person, how you show up as a woman, many things. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And for those who follow us, because you guys are the OGs, we asked a question on our Instagram page as well. And so we're going to be sharing some of your responses as well as far as what you're unlearning. And I'm loving them.
I'm loving them so much. And I feel like it could be things about like the things that we do, but also our beliefs, our principles, our values, whatever it is that guides us through life. And I'd even argue that some of the things that we're trying to learn as adults, we struggle to learn them because we haven't taken time to unlearn. Unlearn.
Ding.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. That's so affirming. I love that. Thank you so much. I love this. I love it here so much. Oh my God.
That's the thing. It's true because there's conflicting beliefs in your mind. So you've got to let go of the old ones so that the new ones can have space to flourish.
Exactly. Okay, so let me give my first one. One of the things that I would say I'm still trying to unlearn is that achieving any one thing can bring you the absolute joy or fulfillment that you want in life. Whether it's marriage, for a lot of people it's like marriage. You'll be like, right now the only thing missing in my life for me to be super happy is if I just get married. And now when I get married, that's now going to be it. Now I'm going to be super happy. think again. Or kids, for some people, it's like you want that one thing so badly. Or weight loss. For me, it's been weight loss for a really long time. It's just like, if I just had this one thing, now I'm going to now reach the peak of my happiness. But the reality is that no one thing can give you that feeling, because there are unintended consequences of the things that we want so badly that you never think through. You're like, okay, fine, I just want a husband, but you don't know what are going to be the dynamics in your marriage. You don't know what will be the dynamics with your kids. Is it just any kind of kid? What if your child is disabled? What if your child is a really difficult child to deal with? What if, so many different things that could impact how you think in your mind it'll be when you get that thing that you so badly want, you know?
I agree for sure. One of the things that kind of has helped me unlearn that has been the journey, I guess, we've had with my family. If you're kind of born in the, actually it doesn't matter. Any family has like their own trajectory of their growth, whether it's financial or spiritual, whatever. So with my family, I have seen so much change and have seen so much acquisition of wealth, I guess. And I realized that when you get to whatever stage or whatever place, you feel normal.
It's just
you feel
normal. That's the thing. You're still just
you. Normal. It's just such a weird thing. I don't know how to articulate it. Like it just feels like you are living in everything you've prayed for, or things you never imagined, right? Like my mom is living a life that I never imagined for her. Right?
Or for a black woman.
She's just living in an incredible life of like so much love. She's happily married. She's living in wealth, but it just feels normal. Even when you go in that car, you're just like, hi, mom. You're just mom. So there's those kind of things have allowed me to see that really the things that matter and the things that make me happy are going to always be consistent. Is my mom happy? Is my sister happy? Are we healthy? Are we happy? Is everyone feeling like they have opportunity to grow? Or those ones stay the same. But those are the one thing achievement. I learned that, you just feel normal. You feel very normal.
I also feel like, on the contrary though, there are certain things which for sure, they will make your life way better and way easier. Like money.
Easier
if you're
for
super
sure.
poor,
I feel like easier feels
for sure.
More the
Easier.
Feeling.
If you're super poor and then you get money, for sure, I mean, definitely at least there's a load off your shoulders. But whether or not that will now give you the ultimate joy and fulfillment because now you have money, definitely not.
What happens, I feel, is like as you get easier, like the problems just become different.
That's it.
The problems just become different. So now you're not really thinking about, or maybe I can talk about myself, like financially. Now you're not thinking about survival. Now it's more of luxury. So you just go into a different bracket thinking about different things, so you just but that feeling is very much normal. Another thing with TMI, getting TMI off the ground and getting it to where it was didn't bring us up to where it is. Is it absolute joy?
It's just more, like, this is now like TMI that we have.
Achieved for sure, and now the problems are different. We are not struggling. Like where is the clients going to come from? Where is the money going to come from? Who's going to pay Beryl? Who's going to pay Beryl?
No, we're not sitting. We're just like, okay, so you remove this much.
You remove and then
remove
me,
this much.
And then next month we are not.
But wait, can we really wait? What's that? It was the ghetto.
So it's not that.
And you're refusing to subscribe. And the things you have gone through. You guys. Gosh.
So it's not that, right? It's a different. Now we're thinking about things like how can we elevate? So it's not it's not the thing that brought you happiness, but there's an ease that comes to it that maybe allows you to find more joy. But I definitely agree with that. And the quicker you learn that, the easier life is.
And actually the happier your life is, because then you realize even in this moment where I am, I feel normal and I can find happiness in this moment even before I get that thing that I want so badly.
It's true. Even in relationships, like the happiness I feel now in this my single energy is I felt happy like this in a relationship.
So and now you're also happy here as
so it's just like those things can change, but you now I'm thinking so hard. You started off on a deep point. That's a very deep one. That's a very good one. I agree with that. Maybe on the same kind of topic, something which I am unlearning is what getting life right looks like. Because I think I had a very strong conditioning on what that looked like. Being a child whose parents divorced, I had a very strong idea of how life has to be for it to make sense, for it to be right, for me to be the person who broke the generational trauma. I mean, I felt like there was so much. It's true. There was so much that in my head, I felt like I I needed to do different for like the next generation. And then my therapist asked me that. She was like, what is the difference between what you think life looks like based on like the societal conditioning versus what you truly believe? So with the societal condition is like, I wanted to be married. By then at 25, idiot. What did you know at 25?
7 years old.
Nothing.
7 years old.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You knew nothing.
You didn't even know yourself.
Nothing. But anyway, based on that, it was like marriage and children, you know, way young. And now I just think Israel gets on my nerves at 32.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was what I thought what getting life right was like. But then she asked me, what is the feeling? And I said, for me, getting life right is only being where I feel that I belong. And so I end a relationship because I feel like I don't belong there. But because there's this other societal conditioning of what I think life should look like, you start ping-ponging on your decision. But really the truth is what you know is right in your life is that I don't want to be in a relationship where I know it's not the relationship that I want to be. I don't want to have children with anyone who I feel like this is not the right person. I don't want to be in any circumstance, in friendship, in business, in anything where I feel like I don't belong. So my decisions are actually driven by that. And when I redefined that, I know that I've made decisions to be where exactly what I wanted to be.
And so accepting that life being right has a different definition for everyone.
100%.
100%. For someone, it's the child-free versus having children.
Right.
For someone else, it's I want to be married. Someone else, it's that I don't want to ever be married. You know?
And
And
I guess because we have all been told this is the one way, it's a very difficult conditioning to undo.
Unlearn, yeah.
But then I kept telling myself, okay, fine, so you go back.
So then now,
So then, you know, like, don't complain.
Which is so weird because then it's like, okay, so society tells me this is what getting life right is, but it doesn't feel right when I'm there.
But it doesn't feel right to me. That doesn't feel right. It doesn't make any sense. So then when you start forcing yourself to be in a how does life look right for everyone else, you end up not being happy. Why do we keep complaining about the state of marriages? Why do we keep complaining about how people are parenting? Because we're all trying to push ourselves in a picture that doesn't look right for all of us.
You're so
you
right.
know?
Yeah.
So that's something which I've definitely unlearned. And once I had that kind of light bulb moment, I was just like, so now my job is to make the decisions that get me towards being where I belong, whatever that means in different moments.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the benefits of not getting married and having kids earlier, because I feel like many people, by the time they realize this, what you're saying, it's too late, kind of. It's like now you already got married, now you already have the kids. You can't like kind of undo and be like, okay, guys, bye. How do you break up with your kids? You really can't, you know?
Yeah, so for those who are younger and I still yet there, try and define that. What does a good relationship feels like to you?
Exactly.
That versus how it looks like are very different things. What does, when do you feel like your life will be whole? What makes your life feel great? All of those things you have to define for yourself, because otherwise you're going to be living someone else's life. And then by the time you're realizing we're 110 and it's a wrap.
That's the problem. That is the issue. So as even look at your man and be like, do I really want to be this man, or am I with him just because it's like I have a boyfriend?
And you're told
you to have a boyfriend. Is that what you want? All right. Something else that I have been unlearning, a bit painfully so, is the idea or the notion that for friendships to be true, for friendships to be real, they need to last forever. And that if a friendship ends, that means that it wasn't meant to be, or that means that it wasn't a real friendship or a true friendship. I feel like in adulthood, as you start to lose friends, you realize at some point it's just like they were there for that season, they served the purpose, and it was nice and it was good while it lasted. And it can end without you having to like regret it or be like, okay, so that wasn't a real friendship. I wasted my time with that one. Same as I guess with relationships. I kind of feel like now I realize that I can look back on friendships and be like, it was nice while it lasted, but the next phase of my journey, they are just not coming with me. And that's okay, and that's perfectly fine. Yeah. Perfectly fine.
I used to think that this was a negative for me.
Oh, really?
Because I am the person who, when the friendship is done, it's time, I easily let it go.
Oh, really?
Only because I feel like friendship is the one area of my life that it just has to feel great.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Because this one, it's like you're choosing.
Joroga is on my neck. Work is on my neck. You too will be on my neck.
You too.
You
like
will
I'm
not
choosing
be on
to
my
be
neck.
Here. I'm choosing.
You will
Yeah,
not.
no thanks.
I think I have always felt like this sacredness with friendship. So I feel like when that's gone, it just means that whatever we were supposed to do for each other, it's just now,
done.
it's just now lapsed.
Yep.
Yeah. I recently let go of a friendship which was a friendship which meant a lot to me, but it came to a place where you can just feel the tug and war. When it's time for a friendship to go, it's just war.
You just feel
it's
it.
war
There's
with
an
your
awkwardness.
spirit.
Sometimes someone says something, it's not as easy to communicate
It's
things.
weird.
Shift
and
in
also
values.
massive misinterpretations. What you see one of your friends seeing as
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, lady is just busy or whatever. This one is a major issue.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that every friend has to be uniform, but you start seeing like a major difference between like the rest of your friends where everything is aligning and this one where things aren't aligning, you know? And I think I let them go in a very peaceful way, so that maybe if it's a matter of like we will come back in a different phase of our lives and we reunite, it will be great. Now that's the fashion which I'm taking. Before I used to be like, once a friendship is done, it's just like, oh,
It's done.
intense, and, you know, I hate you. But really now it's more of you served me at a time, and to be honest, there was a time where maybe you are one of the most important people in my life and you helped me a particular way, or you loved me in a time maybe even I didn't even love myself, but now it's not making any sense.
The time is up. The time is up.
Yeah.
And that can be a really difficult lesson to learn.
Yeah.
People who it's like, you just genuinely felt, I knew that we're going to be together forever. You know, I feel like you'll always be my friend, but now it's like you don't even recognize the person.
Yeah.
Can be painful. It can be really painful.
I know you have one giant one, which I still can't believe it.
Yeah,
I was
know.
there when Joe had a very
too.
intense conversation, and it was just like, wow.
That was probably the hardest conversation I've ever had to have in my life.
And I cannot believe how authentically and honestly you did it.
Yeah.
I still can't.
That was tough.
Honestly.
Yeah. But still, now even at that friendship, like I look back at times when it's like, because we had become friends really early on, like literally beginning of primary school. And it's like there are phases of our lives, each other's lives, that both of us probably wouldn't have gotten through if we weren't together. So it's like at that time it made sense, but over time it just stopped making sense.
It's true.
And you know, that's fine.
Yeah, that's a hard one to unlearn.
It's a difficult one, yeah.
So another thing that I am unlearning is that a woman is incomplete without children. So my strong conditioning, and I realize that any woman, no matter how successful they are, if they don't have, for me, it used to be like marriage and children. But what I realized is that majority of the times you might phase out a partner and then get remarried. So now the partner seemed like it's okay. It doesn't. But a woman who doesn't have children, and guess what? As soon as I see it, if I don't know that someone is child free, I'm like, oh no. Automatically. But when I know someone is child free, I see why it's empowering. Like actually the women who I know, who I follow, who are child free and they choose to be child free, I'm just like, you go, sister. What an amazing decision. But before I know that, I see an emptiness. Another thing is like when, let's say I know somebody has children, a woman has children, and they're like, you know, always working, always traveling. I always ask that sexist question. Like who's taking care of our kids? Yeah, I do.
You asked me.
But I know every evening you go to your children.
Okay,
But let's say I see someone who's like gone like maybe for 2 weeks or some, I ask myself that, and that's my own internalized sexism because they have another parent.
I know.
Yeah.
I think to me, even me, I think I have that as well. And interesting you should mention the child free because both women who have chosen to be child free and the ones who haven't chosen, both of them are child free technically. But this one is like intentionally child free versus consequentially child free.
Or this is like the one which you don't know if they're choosing.
Exactly.
Me, it's always the one I don't know. If I don't know. Or it's true. Or maybe that person is childless. There's a difference.
Exactly. But also me, I feel like depending on how this person like approaches me or the kind of conversation we have. So for example, there are some content creators who speak a lot about like, oh, I just really want kids. I really want kids. I don't. So I feel like, it's because you seem like you feel incomplete without the children. Then automatically I see you as incomplete without the children. Then every time I see you, it's just like, you know, she doesn't have the kids, you know, vis-a-vis the people who present as like, you know, this is my life. I've chosen to be like this. I'm happy.
Are you happy? Because we are not.
Yeah, but anyway, I think even for me, at some point in my head, for me, actually, I think it's more within the context of marriage. When I meet people who are like married and they've been married like more than 2 years and they don't have a kid, automatically my mind just goes to like, what's wrong? What's happening? Like automatically. When someone is single, I'm just like, okay, if they're single and older, then it's when I'm just like, did she choose, or has it been chosen for her? Was she silenced? Or was she silenced? Are you silent or were you silenced? Then is when I think that way. But if you're married and like you guys don't have kids, I'm always just thinking, first I always think like, what man doesn't want kids?
If two people who really love each other, right? And I'm just saying, this is my projection, major projection. Where I see love, means not all marriages.
Yeah.
But where I see love, I always feel, oh no.
Yeah.
You know, but some people, I'm just like, maybe you guys are going through it because you don't look happy.
Yeah.
You know, like I never know, because I actually think married couples who are a bit more sensitive and careful about when to have kids make more sense to me, because that's like a big one.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't sorted some of your other stuff before you bring kids, and also I see kids as such a big responsibility. So funny enough, that I don't usually see.
I think it's because I'm on this side of marriage.
I get it.
Yeah.
So you're like,
for me, I'm just like, what
for
are you guys
what
doing?
would you be doing with Zach without kids?
What are we doing? We're not taking care of
Just
kids. Why are we here?
Yeah, I get it. So
Yeah.
that's an unconditional. I'm really, really and for me, that one is a strong one.
That's a
Literally,
tough
I just
one.
go through Instagram. I'm just like, oh no.
You know why that
I
one-
remember.
yeah.
Actually, guess what? You see J-Lo, how she's like got a husband every week or whatever every week or whatever. Yeah, which is incredible.
J-Lo,
but
if you're watching this, we love you.
She has children. I'm just like, she can do what she wants.
She can.
I'm just like, live your best life. It's like you are like when she gave birth to her twins, I was like, she's complete.
Yeah.
She can change partners whenever she wants, but
She has this.
She has kids.
And the reason why I feel like this is so difficult to unlearn is because literally having kids is at the root, is at the center of African culture.
Yeah.
It's like literally
Family.
that's what it is. It's like if you don't have kids, what are you doing?
Yeah.
How are you adding to the value here? How?
yeah, I know that's something I'm definitely unlearning.
And also
for
comes
sure.
across selfish.
What?
It's just like you're not adding to the family, you're not
Oh
contributing
no!
any kids.
No! I don't see it. Actually, I don't see
No,
it
I'm
from
saying how the African culture sees it.
Absolutely!
Yeah.
What a waste!
What a waste. A
You're
whole
just-
womb
a whole
that you're
womb
choosing
for
not
no
to.
reason.
That's it.
And this, as we're saying, guys, is very much our conditioning. This is not something I'm holding on to be true. This is something I'm very aware is internalized sexism, but it's something which I am really working at learning. And the more pictures and visuals I see of women living their best lives without children, the more I'm like, this is
makes
such
sense.
an amazing
And the more people who do that,
way.
the less kids will be born who are not wanted and who are thrown
my
into children's homes. The more
God.
that women will be intentional about how they parent their children, because it's like you actually want the
You
kids when
want
they come.
them. You
it's
know
not like
you're
just because I've been told I need to have the child.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm unlearning that for sure, guys.
Tough one. Okay, another thing that I'm unlearning is the concept of love being hard. The concept that love has to hurt, love is for fighting, love is like you have to
Really?
struggle and like, you have to go through things. I feel like before I met Zach, I feel like that definitely was my idea of what love is. It's like there has to be, and it's because when you're coming from a toxic relationship, it's just like we fight, but that's how I see the passion. That's how I see. It's just like that's so toxic. It's so toxic. I'm learning. I've unlearned the fact that it has to be you're fighting all the time, and that's the only. Actually, like when you guys stop fighting, that's how you know the passion is gone or the love is
Connecting
gone.
with chaos.
Girl.
Because chaos is how you
Because
learn to
chaos is
connect
how
in
you-
your childhood.
Exactly. But like I've learned love can be easy and love can be smooth. Love doesn't have to be aggressive. It doesn't have to be, like it's us against the world. Why are we against the world?
Why is anyone
why
against
can't it be
anything?
us with the world and we love each other and the world is happy for us it doesn't have to be us against the world.
Yeah.
It can be just us in the world and everything is okay.
Peaceful love.
Peaceful love.
I remember when we had this conversation. Actually, I think we might have had it on TMI. And I was saying that the red hot love is not necessarily what equates love or passion.
Yeah.
Sometimes, actually, Sierra said when she met her husband, she felt peace. That is actually love. It's stable, it's consistent, it's predictable, it's safe. Then you are still fighting me. But I'm glad you're on there.
Like you can have a full night's sleep comfortably. It's not like you can just rest, my sister.
Relax.
You can rest.
And guess what? that for me is always what I believe is love. So and actually when I told you like fighting, if we're having like a major emotional like super traumatizing fight every month, that's a red flag to me.
Red flag.
It is.
I think this is an age thing.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like it's an age thing, but I feel like the younger generation, like especially people who watch TMI, you guys have like now it's a good thing for you guys that you're getting to watch TMI, because then you can understand that you don't have to go through that. Because I feel like all of us went through at least one relationship where we were fighting to tooth and nail to be in that relationship.
And I still knew that it wasn't love even then. Funny enough, that my conditioning was changed when my mom met her now husband Tim, and that was like 8-9 years ago, something like that. And I saw what peaceful, stable, predictable love is, and I was just like, this is it.
That's it. That's love.
This is it.
Yeah.
Being peacefully in love.
Yeah.
It's not consistent fighting. It's not that there's no problems. It's just normal problems, as opposed to this one is cheating, this one is beating, like da 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 da. He didn't text me, and then we came, and then we fought, and then we had sex.
Relax.
That's too much. Like your chemicals are all over the place, and it's so unstable. So I know they changed that for me, but I know there's a time where I thought of the ride or die when I was going through my bad boy phase. That's it. The more I can endure, the more I'm loved.
And the problem with that is that now when you do get the peace and the stability, it feels like this is boring.
Boring.
It's so boring. It's like, does he even love me? Like, excuse me, I didn't text him for 3 days.
Yes.
Why is he? He's not mad or whatever. We're not fighting. Why?
Not to be confused with not being attracted to people. One of the, I feel like the lowest, for me, the thing which I feel is so far from self-love is being with someone who I don't want to be with, or I'm not attracted to. Why? So that, not to say that you're not attracted to your person, not to say that you can't have passionate sex and stuff, but the love itself is stable and consistent and peaceful. That's okay.
And it's not an either or. It's like either you have the peace and the stability, or you have the red hot passion. You can have them both, but it just wouldn't look the way the movie sometimes paints it as. It's like dysfunctional and toxic and trauma and crying yourself to sleep, but in the morning it's like, wow, that's a turn on. We don't need that.
I agree. That's a wonderful one. And I'm so happy that you're in that phase, because I feel like it's going to reflect so much to you back in your marriage. You're going to see more of that, because that's what you're seeking.
That's what I'm seeking.
That's not what you define love is. I love that. Another thing that I am unlearning is that my parents know any more than I know now. So my mom had me at 25. 25. You have a baby at 25.
And she was married.
Yeah,
she was married then. Oh.
You have a baby at 25, and tell us what you know. We put so much on our parents to have known how to deal with this, how to parent, how to, get the finances together, how to take care of us, how to take care of themselves, how to deal with their own traumas, as if they were any more knowing than we are now. A lot of, let's say if you're in our age, you are now your parents' age when they had you. What do you know?
I know some things.
Let's discuss.
I know about like changing diapers.
There you go, some things.
I know.
But now the expectation that we had of our parents is so unfair. And like the older I get, the more I'm like, so I was like 7. My mom had like a 7-year-old.
Imagine. Wow.
7 years old. Actually, at 32 is when my parents separated. She had 2 children and she was separated.
Aggie was how old? 4.
Yeah. Yeah. And you expect your parent to have figured out parenting, figured out how to keep a relationship, figured out themselves. It's just, now I see things like, you did the best you bloody could.
You did the
best you bloody could.
Yeah.
Not to say that now I am not holding my parents accountable for the way our relationships are now. Now you got to draw boundaries. Now we can't keep the same old age. We need to have better and healthier relationship with our parents now. But back then,
they really
you did the best you can. You didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
You didn't know how to keep your marriage together. You didn't know how to understand what was going on with your husband, because your husband didn't know what was going on with him.
Yeah.
And he didn't know. He didn't have the emotional set skill. He didn't have the tools. He didn't have therapy to be able to understand what was happening with him, to be able to take care of himself, to be able to take care of you guys. So there's so much forgiveness. And I don't know if it's coming, I guess, with age, because the older I get, the more I'm just like, I know 3 things.
Yeah, exactly.
I know 3 things only.
So much forgiveness and grace, because now we're like, I mean,
how do they do it?
Exactly. And then they didn't have like internet.
They didn't have
social media to tell them about gentle parenting. They literally
They didn't have any of that.
Yeah, and I feel like the older we get, the more we realize life is a lot. Life is a lot. As a 33-year-old woman, you're waking up, you're trying to think, I need to drink all my water, I need to work out, I need to eat healthy. Oh my God,
stop.
how many?
That's
is
enough.
this organic? I need to call this person. Oh my God, my car needs to be fixed. Oh God, it's almost time for my hair appointment. Whatever. There's so much.
Then you
There's
add
just so
two
much.
delicate little babies trying to be in this environment that you guys haven't figured out what this environment is. My mom was 6 months pregnant when she was getting married. So it's like it was married and children at the same time.
Yeah.
You guys haven't even figured out what's going with you guys, let alone now having a child, having another one, trying to keep things together, your finances.
Yeah.
I have so much grace for like anything that came to be trauma is just like, it is what it is. That's what I got. My job is to deal with it, to reparent myself and to do better for the next generation. But as far as holding on of what happened back then.
And the reality is that right now you can't really change what happened. And I feel like holding on to the anger and the bitterness really doesn't serve anyone. For sure, it doesn't most likely then make them feel bad, because for a lot of people, it's not like your parents are not like as... I'm not say emotionally aware, but you know how us
they're not like as emotionally aware or emotionally intelligent.
Exactly. So I feel like you will be there feeling so bad and so bitter about it, but they're not. They're just knowing that they did the best that they could, and now you got fucked up a little bit, but like now what are we going to do about it? So it's definitely more grace. Yeah. I saw it actually in one of the comments that somebody left on our Instagram. They also said that my parents were just people. You know, I just have to unlearn the idea that they should have known how to parent me better.
Yeah,
you know,
when they didn't,
but they just didn't.
As much as you know now.
That's it.
So someone imposing what you should know.
Yeah.
What? Okay, fine. I should know more. Now what?
I
still don't know
more.
I still don't know whether I like it or not, you know? So yeah, there's definitely so much grace. I know when it comes to now having a relationship with your parents, it's very important for a lot of people, depending on the level of trauma or abuse that happened, to have them validate what happened, to have them be sorry or take accountability of what they did. It's okay. That's a big part of you wanting to have a relationship with them. But either way, there needs to be movement forward.
There needs to be, and that doesn't mean that now giving grace or forgiveness means that you tolerate any form of like abuse or neglect or trauma right now.
No,
that means that was then. But now that you know better, you are allowed to put yourself in a space where you feel safe. And if that means distancing yourself from them, then that so be it. You know, kind of thing. Some parents refuse to be held accountable. Some parents refuse to say sorry for what happened.
They don't want to be better now.
They don't want to anything. And at that point, it's like you have to ask yourself, okay, is this a place that you want to continue to be?
Yeah.
That actually brings me to one of my other points is that I've had to unlearn that I need anyone else to give me closure for something that happened.
Ding, ding, dong.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, sometimes it just doesn't come. Sometimes it just doesn't. Your dad will never say, I'm so sorry that I was an alcoholic and I, emotionally didn't participate in your life. That just will never, and you have to be okay with that, whether it's the end of a relationship, whether it's something that your partner did, whether it's, something that your parents did. Sometimes you have to give yourself that closure because you're the one who needs something closed for you to move on. That person has already closed and they have bounced. Yeah. They're continuing their life. You don't need them to give you closure. 100%. You need to find the closure on your own in therapy.
It's true. For my parents' point of view, because some very difficult conversation, there's just not as much room to have with my dad. And sometimes I do wonder, am I having that because I want to repair? Like that one I'm still figuring out. But either way, what I've decided is that the closure for me is to reparent myself. Where my parents did their best, I complete the rest. And that's in my daily self. It's in validating my own emotions. It's in taking care of myself the way that I want. It's in having boundaries. It's in speaking up. It's in affirming myself. I'm reparenting myself, and that is me completing where my parents left off. That's my closure when it comes to anything pertaining my childhood. Now, when it comes to a partner, my closure tends to be, what were the behavioral patterns that led me to be attracted or to keep that person in my life? Number two, what are the things that I learned about myself in there? Because if I can change the roadmap to that relationship and what they did, I can change the next step. Then that's all I can do. The healing part is to do better, possibly in the next relationship, because that's done. And if someone is not going to sit down and tell you, oh, by the way, you're right, I was a massive narcissist who was manipulative and abusive, and I am so sorry, and I'm really in therapy working on myself. That is 1%.
I don't think even 1%.
Even narcissists.
I really don't
1%.
think. Sometimes people won't even give you the closure just because they know how badly you want it.
You want it. They're just still using
that. It's a source of power, and you're giving them that power by making them feel like I will never be able to move on with my life if you don't give me that. Yeah. Other times it's that people just don't see what they did wrong. Even though for you, maybe you're just like, but why can't you just validate how I felt about it? For example, a conversation I've never been able to like get past with my mom is I always used to be like, why did you never teach us about sex and contraception and things to do with our bodies or whatever? I always felt like her stance was just more like, just don't have sex. Contraception before you get married is wrong kind of thing. And even now, that's still how she feels. So you see, it's difficult to start saying like, Mom, in the past, I really wish you had done this or whatever, but she'll still be like, no, but if I could turn back time, I would still do the same thing. So it's like, you can be mad about it all you want. You can be mad about it all you want, but the reality is that that's just what she believes, and those are her values. And if they don't align with who I am right now, it's unfair for me to force her to be like, now say sorry to me, because I felt like I was wrong. I feel like there's a gap that you left and I wish that you had filled it. And she's like, no, for me that's not a gap, that's what I wanted it to be, kind of thing, And it's like, you can't now, you can be mad and then
what are you gonna do? And actually sometimes, a lot of the times, the fight to try and get somebody to see this and this causes more damage because you're not. And it's okay if some of it's too much and you decide, I can't even have a relationship with you if you have these values. But if it's like, now with you, it's just like, now what are we going to do? You just learn that this is how somebody is and that's how they're going to be. I know for sure, like there's a relationship where I felt like I deserved closure. I deserved admission of guilt. I deserved an apology. And it kept me in the place of like not healed for a longer time. Whereas this last relationship, I just knew whether I get it and whether or not this is the way I'm going to do it. If you're struggling with closure, I would really highly suggest you read the book Conscious Uncoupling, because there it's about accountability. It's like, what are the belief systems that brought you here? You stayed though. Every time you did this, you stayed though. So what kept you staying? And the point is to change and rewire your own ideologies so that you can tell a different story, because literally everyone in your life is just playing out a story you believe about something. So I agree with that.
And waiting for closure delays your healing, it delays your recovery, it delays your being able to get something better. So just give it to yourself. Give it to yourself.
This is actually from the next point is from one of the people who responded, one of the in-betweeners on our Instagram question. She said that one thing that she's unlearning is that love is enough.
Discuss 10 points.
10 marks, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like this is something which I had to unlearn as well. Actually, something on that point that I need to unlearn is that if two people love each other, they're going to make it work.
They can conquer anything.
I still need to unlearn that. I still need to unlearn that. I constantly see a failure in like, you love each other, figure it out. Hold on.
Relax.
But you haven't personally conquered your shit. And when you come in another relationship and you mix your shit and his shit, now who's cleaning who? Because you're both covered in shit. You're both covered in poop.
I don't even think about it that way. I think about it more like, I can love you deeply, but I can want something that is different from you. For example, we love each other deeply, but I want 7 children. You don't want any children. How is love conquering that?
You tend to see it that way. I tend to see it from a place of not even like those conflicts, which are just like, this is just undoable. The other ones, which is like majority of why people get divorced, has nothing to do with like those big old questions. It's the little stuff. It's the in-between every day. It's the way we deal with conflict. It's the way we separate our... relate with in-laws, how we deal with chores, how we deal with parenting, how generally you are. If you're not a responsible person, if you're not... those things. How reconciling that, sometimes I feel like you should figure it out if you love each other.
I feel like those ones are still figure outable if people truly love each other. Because for me, it's like, for example, you're the kind of person who likes to leave the dishes. We eat Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We wash all the dishes on Friday. Versus me, I like them to be washed every day. If you love me, if you actually love me, would you not make some effort to actually, change and make me happy?
The problem here is that there's always a gap between how somebody feels and their capacity to love right. There's capacity. As we said this, it's like, I desire to be a billionaire. Capacity. I desire to be, I don't know, the body, where is the capacity? There's a difference in capacity. And somebody, you feel like somebody should be different to suit how you're doing. They don't care about the dishes.
Yeah, but they care about me.
They do. Yeah, but your idea is that if you care about me, I'm going to care about the dishes. That doesn't always happen.
But then, do you actually love me then? Is that actual love? That's my question.
That's interesting.
Because for me,
let me tell you.
I feel that
you quietly think of the things which you know you have done to your husband.
Yeah.
And it's like you loved them. But that had nothing. You know it was bad, or you know it's like it's annoying to them. But do you really love them then? Well, yes, you do.
Do you?
Yes, you do.
Oh, you're talking about me now?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I do love my husband. I do. But I feel like, so it's figure outable. It's just like, will it be figured out though? You know what I'm saying?
But it's figure outable. It's figure outable based on everyone's capacity to do that.
Yeah, okay, based on like your own character, your own personality,
exactly,
and whatever.
And those
I get that. I understand that.
The feeling.
Yeah, but I feel like I saw Tony Tone saying, someone was asking, what's a major green flag for you in like a friendship or in a relationship? And she was saying, for her, if she says to someone that she doesn't like someone and she instantly sees an effort for them, whether or not they have the capacity to actually see it through, but she sees a level of effort towards them, you know, making a change in that thing of just like, oh, I know she didn't like this, so let me make an effort to change, or I know she likes this, so let me make an effort to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like in that context,
it's
is
amazing.
doable. It's amazing and it feels good. And I feel like where there's true love,
yeah, that's definitely still magic. Another, like, let's say, for example, how people deal with money.
Need to unlearn that, yeah.
How people deal with money, that's fundamentally about how they were raised. It's about that.
Yeah.
And somebody could tell you they want to just do better, but that's just not in their conditioning to do so.
But are they making an effort
They're
to change?
making an effort. Like, how many things from our conditioning are we trying to unlearn?
Yeah.
And still, we are not there yet.
Yeah, you're right.
It's still not there yet because we are like a work in progress as human beings. And depending on how triggering it is to your other partner, is that someone going to wait through 20 odd years while you figure out your conditioning out of your life? Because that's a really big issue for them.
Yeah.
You know, that's a very big issue for them. Let's say somebody has been cheating on you with 5 women a month. Now it's 3. Are you going to...
Oh, that's lovely.
That's progress.
That's progress.
Are you going to wait it out?
And I can see that there's been effort.
Because there's chlamydia.
I can see that there's effort. And maybe
There's
next month he can reduce to 1.
Maybe he has a baby.
Okay,
you understand?
I
It's
get
like
what you're saying.
There's effort, there's a cap to how much sometimes we're able to do based on the information we have, based on our knowledge, based on what we've grown up to understand. And because I'm seeing my own conditioning and I'm having grace with that, I'm having grace with other people. So now I know, I can tell you now that I stand knowing that love isn't enough.
Love is not enough.
It's not.
But I feel like it's a really big part.
It's a huge part.
It's a big part, and it helps because if you see somebody's like willingness and they can empathize with like what you're saying about like when you say you don't like when I do something, but if I'm not able to give you then what you're asking for, then just the love, which is honestly I feel like that's the hardest. It's heartbreaking. Because I'm like, I love you, I deeply want to be with you, but I just can't, because that will mean you sacrificing your own mental health, your own happiness, your own your own values, just so you can accommodate this person that you love.
Exactly. Remember the couple from What's It Love Is Blind?
Yeah.
The black couple. It's Ayana
and Jared.
Yeah. I feel like you could tell that they loved each other, but he likes going out and doing whatever. And that's not even harmful.
Yeah.
It's not directly to her, but she's
Did he love her?
I feel like actually the fact that he tried feels like he loves her, but guess what? He's trying to change a part of him that he likes.
Yeah, that's the
He
thing.
likes that part. He wants to go out. This is us projecting. We don't know any of their
We
business.
don't know.
But, we're just assuming. It's like, he looked like this is what I want to do. I want to take shots. What's the problem? That's a problem to her.
And to them, me, honestly, some of these things, I'm just like, I could have told you that was going to be an issue worthy of divorce early on.
I could tell that, yeah. But you see, they tried.
They tried. Love is not enough.
Love is not enough.
Yeah, before I got married, that's what my dad told me. Like when I told him, "Oh, I've met this guy. I want you to meet him. I really love him," and he was just like, the only criteria for marriage is love." Us.
Oh dear God.
Dr. Obwaka, if you're watching this, you kind of lied. Sorry, you kind of lied. Okay, fine. Well, here's another one that I I was thinking, something that I am unlearning now is that I can empathize with people's situations without feeling responsible for helping them out of their situations?
Hold hands in solidarity.
You know, this is a tough one.
I know, baby, but you are doing a fantastic, fantastic job.
Yeah.
And I tell you that a big part of that is because you're an amazing person. You're a caring person. You feel like if I'm able to, then I should. So it's an amazing part. It's just the other spillover, the other...
I know, especially as it relates to people and their kids. That's where I feel like it just tugs at my heartstrings. I'm just like, but these kids, I can help them. I can do something for them. Like, for me, I'm just like, in fact, I start just feeling like you're just selfish. You're going to go and buy a burger when that money can actually feed that family for a week. You know, but being able to just empathize and just shut my fucking mouth. By the way, now, oh God, I could cry for years about this. Like, it's just so hard. But
I
like,
get it. You have a child.
And on the other side, though, then it puts me in a position of, if you are doing it too much, you're always feeling like I'm responsible for saving this person from this situation. Then they begin to expect it. And then now you start feeling taken advantage of. And then now you're feeling bitter about the dynamics between the two of you or whatever. Then you're mad. Then you're kind of mad, but it's like you're the reason why it's like that. Yeah.
If it was true that it's your responsibility, it would feel nice in your center.
Exactly.
It would feel great.
Yeah.
You'd be like, this is what I love doing.
You're right. Yeah.
So why does it feel bad?
Why?
Because it's not. There's something which I had to learn as well, but it was mostly emotional. So enmeshment is where, like, let's say you grow up in an environment where your emotions are our emotions. In a lot of African environments are like that. When mom is upset, we are all upset, like that kind of thing. So what you learn is that your emotions are my emotions. And so let's say if Aggie is going through something, that's it. I'm not coming to TMI because I too am going through it.
And you dare show up on your stories smiling.
How?
And you know Aggie is going through something.
You know?
Yeah.
Whereas now I've learned empathize, but don't carry. I can empathize with you. I can feel with you. Even with Joe as well. I feel like sometimes I'm enmeshed with your emotions. So when Joe's going through something, she's telling me, it takes more muscle for me to hold up. I even sometimes have to clench.
Those butt cheeks.
Just clench those
butt cheeks. Yeah.
So that I'm able to be in a position where I can be helpful. Because if I'm enmeshed in her emotions, if I'm now involved and I'm just as sad and I'm just as, oh my God, who's helping who?
Yeah,
it's pointless.
True. Yeah.
So being able to hear you and feel you, and my whole heart is going with you, but sticking to that, actually I can't help you anymore than just giving you advice and walking down the road with you.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to
such a tough one.
get.
It's the Pisces in us, I guess.
Oh my God. It's the empathy. If you have ever been hurt, or if you did grow in a way where you've seen someone not care about your emotions, you are very caring about other people's emotions. That's how I am. One of the things I attribute to my trauma is my empathy. I am more keen and I'm more observant about other people's emotions because I know what it's like to not feel like my emotions are being heard and seen. However, I can't carry more. I stopped carrying it.
And now our backs are hurting. We're having back pain because you're
carrying the chiropractor.
Because you're carrying everyone's everything. But that one requires so much like consciousness, like such intentionality of just like, literally sometimes I even say it out loud. I feel bad that she's going through this. I feel horribly. I can contribute, but it's not my problem to fix. It's hers. It's her life. She's a grown up. She's a person, and it's not me to fix that thing.
Let me tell you something. So one of my auntie, we had a cousin who had like severe epilepsy, and so he was disabled for majority of his life, and he still had those seizures, even coming to his death. And my auntie used to like carry him sometimes when he's having these fits, and she used to like walk for ages, like to go to the hospital or something like that, right? And so sometimes, let's say we'll be driving and she'll find someone stood on the side of the road, like now a woman like asking for a lift. She was like, could never. Because to her, it's just like, it's like you have legs, you can carry your own burden. I carried mine.
People these days are not thinking like that. People these days are happy to give you their problems. Happy.
No, my auntie is just kind of one of, she just deals with her shit. So she doesn't really carry others because she has such a strong sense of responsibility about my problems are my problems. I'm carrying them. Carry your own.
That's the thing.
And that is like a severe problem.
But,
so
but
any
you see,
other, it's
all that is
the
also
degrees,
based, all that is
though.
also based in some level of trauma.
Of
is
course.
that as you are growing up, is it that you felt like you had no one that you could turn to, so you had to be the person
So some people parent that way.
Exactly. And now every time you see someone else who's asking for help, you're just like, why are you asking for help? You're lazy.
Yeah.
You're lazy. You can
That's
do
a
it.
problem. It is, but now it falls the
That's
other
another
way.
extreme. Yeah.
But I prefer this other one, though.
Yeah. I prefer it, but it's really heavy. It just feels so heavy.
Yeah.
It's like you could do more, but you're choosing not to. What a horrible person you are, Muruki.
Yeah, and remember, these words we're saying, empathize, don't carry. Just because I have doesn't mean I have to give. Like, you just say
you
this
have
over
more
and
right
over
to
again.
say no that anyone has to
there
ask.
you go. You have been getting told this since you were a child. What is happening?
I don't even understand.
Miss Emily, she's not listening to you.
I'm sorry, Ems. Okay, so let me give one last one for this episode, because it's just there are just so many.
There are so many.
There are a billion,
Definitely.
literally. Mm-hmm. I am having to unlearn the end all be all of the Bible. Why are you laughing?
Nervous laughter.
I know, Lana. So, okay, we grew up knowing that the Bible is absolute truth, okay? I'm already ready for someone to come for me. It's absolute truth.
Someone.
Yeah.
Someone.
Yes. So that the Bible is absolute,
trending.
Absolute truth, and there's like everything about it is contextually relevant to the world that we live in today. And I feel like a lot of churches still preach that. However, the more I read it, the more I listen to preachings, the more I just see what's happening in our world today, the more I realize it is very, very subjective sometimes, even in the way that it's interpreted by different churches. For example, when we're having this conversation with my mom the other night, is that there are things in the Bible. We are reading the book of Acts as a family, and there's a part where it's talking about you should not eat an animal that isn't I don't know, something like, basically we should all be eating halal. You know how Muslims eat halal? Yeah. Basically we should all be eating like that, you know? And it says something like women should not, something about that things that women should not do or whatever. You should not curse, you should not take part in sexual impurity. But the more you see the world that we live in today, it's like the one on sexual impurity is the one that people really hold on to. But there are other things that are said in the Bible that it's like we've all come to a consensus. This one doesn't apply right now. The Bible also tells us that we shouldn't have any marks or piercings on our body that are permanent. So the fact that even you have your earrings, that's not biblical.
Tattoo.
That's again that tattoo. That's not biblical. There are things in there that it's like the world has just decided this one is forgivable. This one is like it's just for them. But like the other things like LGBTQ, the other things like sex before marriage, just things that it's like no, this one we can't excuse.
Fornicate proudly.
Yeah, people are fornicating proudly. Just out here, it's like last night you were having sex with someone, and this morning you're in church and you're still praising God. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but clearly it's like society is determining how we see what the Bible says about specific things. And that has made me really want to dig deeper and like seek God myself about what does he mean for the world that we're in today, and what was for then, because right now it's just like you're told by the pastor, okay, yeah, you go to some churches and they're like, no, you can't wear trousers. There's some places where women are not allowed to wear trousers to church. Others where it's like you can wear whatever you want. When I went to church in South Africa, the first Sunday, I was shocked when I entered church and everyone comes like with a cup of coffee and a snack. And I was like, in church, my mom would scream. My mom would scream. Even like, it's like, okay, you can drink a bottle of water, but she's just like, this is not like a picnic. You have to give reverence to God and whatnot. But there, it's very casual. People don't even dress up to go to church. It's just like jeans and a tee, and people are just like relaxing. And I was like, so many of these things are so contextually specific. It's like in Africa, because you're in Kenya, you're believing it this way. And if you're in SA, you're believing it that way. And if you're in the States, I mean, if people even like the Pope are starting to say like, okay, gay marriages could be allowed, and that's the Pope. I mean, it's kind of like, it's starting to feel like, okay, people are just deciding what we want to do. And I feel like if you're truly a Christian and you're interested in pursuing God, I feel like you need to read for yourself. You need to understand for yourself and pray to God to like reveal to you what he meant when he said the things that he said. And does it apply to us today? Do you know what I mean?
This is, I guess, the benefit of growing up in a secular society. You constantly see things from a place of this is one perspective. So for example, here, or I guess in an African context, you learn CRE. I don't know if that's still the same way, Christian religious education.
Yeah.
Whereas in England, you learn religious education. You learn about all of the religions. And I think I started learning that when I was like 12 or something like that.
I wonder if they still have CRE today.
I don't know.
Nancy, do they?
They have what?
So.
They don't even learn that.
CRE. I think now they do like what do they call it, global perspective, something like that, which I think just gives
is that
which
like
is
the
just
same, which is fantastic.
Mm.
That's the way it's supposed to be, because I grew up knowing that Christianity is one way in my choice of way, or my family's choice of way. So that's one thing. Studying other religions teaches you that it's just like people are just having different ways of kind of doing the same thing, whether it's like how they praise God, who they believe God is just their way. It's just like one way of doing it. That's the first thing. The second thing is that my mom brought us up very in church for sure, but in church more spiritually, more than religiously. So it was very much about how we treated people. My mom is very charitable, so we understood at a very early age that giving back and passing on are really important. Being good to everyone, no matter what. So there are some principles that my mom enforced more than the do's and don'ts that were in the Bible. So I grew up knowing that. I grew up knowing that the height and what's most important is there's no blasphemy. My mom says that's the only thing that she won't tolerate in any of her children.
Yeah.
But everything else was from a place of the principles of being Christ-like, like the goodness of your heart, those kind of things. That's what I've had enforced. So even when I was growing up, when I stumble on anything in the Bible that is just kind of, it doesn't make any sense, it didn't feel like it was such a big conflict in my heart because of the openness I already had been brought up around.
Not I.
Huh?
Not I.
Not I. I completely understand. And majority of people weren't. Actually, somebody messaged me the other day because I've been going to church pretty much every Sunday for like the last year now, and I love my church.
I'm very proud of you, by the way,
Baptist
I'm
Church.
like,
it's not something I need to even think about.
Yeah.
I just love it there.
Yeah.
It just makes me so happy.
Yeah.
So anyway, and somebody asked me like, where do you reconcile what you're learning in church or what the Bible says versus like, things like having sex and stuff like that. I found that I never had that conditioning because that's where she was like, when she is going out and when she is having sex and when she is drinking, she doesn't go to church. She's just unable. Like the two worlds are too conflicting. There's a lot of guilt, there's a lot of shame. Whereas I realized I never had that. I feel like I've just lived life and then gone to, and I go to church and I still feel very much like, fine, it's because I never had the conditioning in the first place.
Question, if you die today, do you think you're going to heaven?
Is there a heaven?
Do you think
Stay tuned to next? Stay tuned.
Because the church you go to believe that there's a heaven.
Yeah, they do.
Do you think you're going to heaven?
There's many things where what I don't know, I tell God to give me wisdom to, and until I know, I just leave it.
Yeah,
because I can't know. I can't know everything.
Yeah.
But what my pastor did say is that being like half in the secular world and you're
if you
sinning.
hit that mic one more time, I'm not giving you a mic in the next episode.
Oh yeah, because it belongs to you.
That's it.
Anyway, so when my pastor said that if you are like half in, where it's just like you're enjoying the joys of the secular world, you're drinking, you're fornicating, you're tattooing and piercing and whatever, but then you also want like the glory of God, you want to go to heaven, all of these things. It's like having a man at your wedding, right? And your man is asked, do you take this man? And they're just like, I mean, a bit.
Yeah,
I
like her.
I like her,
and it's nice, especially on Sundays.
Nice, especially on Sundays. But like on Monday to Friday, can I just know? It's being half in, half out. But I have grace for myself for not really knowing exactly how to navigate. This feels balanced for me right now, and the more curious I get, the more understanding I get. But what I don't know.
That's the thing. And I believe that the Bible says there's no condemnation in Jesus, and I believe that God walks with us on our journey where we are. And I feel like it's more about the posture of your heart. Are you open to learning? Are you open to changing certain habits, even if it's not like right now? Because if you have been fornicating for 12 years, it's not like tonight you're going to stop fornicating. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a journey, kind of thing. And I don't believe that, okay, if you're a Christian and you fornicate, for sure you're going to hell.
Yeah.
Or if you're, I don't know, even if you're not a Christian.
And I feel like that
just
promise of heaven and hell has major problems with it. Like that, like those are it. Like I watched the documentary Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. And of course it's about someone abusing Christianity, has nothing to do with Christianity. But you can see what people are willing to do for their salvation. If you tell me that where my soul is going to go is dependent on whether or not I fornicate today, you don't think that's going to manipulate my decision? Of course it is.
And that's the difference between us idolizing a pastor, a bishop, or whatever, vis-a-vis just like me, I want to read the Bible for myself and trust that God is going to reveal to me what he wants me to do. But anyway, there's just so much around that as you're growing up, it's more of like, my mom said this and this is how it is. But when you grow up, it's kind of like you have to figure these things out for yourself. You know, there are some people who are feeling guilty, other people who are just like, oh, in fact, after COVID, I feel like I feel like we have less Christians in this country right now, because
even
I feel like
church going and stuff completely
changed. And it's like, even understanding what it means to be spiritual is that, okay, you've not gone to church for a year, but perhaps someone else has been going to church for a year, but you're praying and you're reading the Bible and you're good
and you're great and you're actually doing good things. You're a good human being.
That's the thing.
And there's another thing which I feel like is already like distorted, is this idea that, like, you know, like the Christianity is it and everyone else is kind of on the wrong foot. That's like a belief in Christianity.
Yeah,
right?
I believe that.
Huh? Okay, so let me tell you about that. One thing about that is that, for example, let's say we're having a debate, you'll be like, the Bible says, but you're assuming I subscribe to the Bible.
Me, I would say probably, I believe.
But a lot of times you hear people say, actually, even when as we said about LGBTQ, everyone says the Bible says.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you subscribe to that is none of my business, because that's really the book that governs us all, right? Whereas, of course, that limits how we are living out in the world. Exactly. If you believe that your way is the all-knowing, the perfect way, and me, I'm somehow a lost sheep, we already, first of all, divide each other from that perspective anyway. So there are many things which, because for example, I personally don't believe there's any way of my life that I feel like is better than anybody else's. I just happen to be really passionate about my way, and my way is great and amazing for me.
I agree with that, and I feel like sometimes that even limits Christians' ability to be able to even connect with other people, because I definitely don't believe, I feel like there's a difference between, you know, I'm a Christian and I feel like this is the right religion to be in, and I wish other people could do it, vis-a-vis me invalidating what you believe,
yours is wrong, yours is not the
your
way.
Quran or your whatever. I feel like that definitely doesn't help in any conversation ever, you know, kind of thing. And being able to respect other people's religion, another thing that we didn't really grow up with, because we definitely grew up with, like,
Kenya is a Christian
help.
Kenya a Christian country. That's what it is, right?
It's like we need to help the Muslims and Indians because they are going to hell. Vis-a-vis, it's just like, I mean, us, we believe this, and they believe that, and if they move to Christianity, they do, and if they don't, you know, they live there and they can also, they are just okay. You know, it's just like, it's not, just let them be, you know, as they are.
Whereas, I happen to believe it's like, it's just a different, it's a way of it's something you prescribe into. That's what I believe, but it just happens to be the way I do it. And actually, to be honest, one of the things that I like and always makes me feel like I would definitely want to raise my kids abroad is that sense of, you're not holier than thou, you're not better than anyone, your way is not better than anyone. It's like you learn to live with people in a way more harmonious way when you just believe that there's just my way and then there's everybody else's, and their way is just their way for them.
That's definitely not what you learn in Kenya.
I know, for sure. And that's one thing that I really would like for my kids to have. Maybe they'll have because I have, but I would love them to grow up in a society where it's just like you are a bit more humble about your way of living.
It definitely builds a level of tolerance that would lead to less like tension in the world, less wars, less battles, less, you know, definitely a lot. It would make the world a lot more problematic, a lot less problematic.
Church.
Anyway,
this is just us. And actually, this is something that me and Joe said, right? Because we are here in this platform, in front of you and many people are watching us, it might come off like we are supposed to know everything. Like we are all knowing and we are perfect in our journeys. Where in fact, the messy in between, we want this to be declared. We don't.
We don't.
We
and
do not.
We ourselves are messy.
We are messy.
Ourselves are messy. We are in the in-between.
We are in the in-between. So when you see us approaching a topic in a way where we are curious, we don't know, we have some biases, we have some conditioning, please give us the same room that you would give yourself.
Yeah.
But because we are open to learning and we are curious, this is what the platform is about. So I am the one who even took myself off that, because I was like, a lot of times I feel like this need to kind of bring the right information, where sometimes I'm limited because I don't know.
We're limited.
How do I know?
And I really appreciate when you guys, in a respectful way, even correct us in the comments. Like, when we were talking about the HIV/AIDS issue, there are people who are like correcting even about the FGM issue. So we really appreciate when you guys come and tell, because we don't know everything.
We don't.
By the way, we don't. Yeah.
And unless that, like our episode is specifically about that point, we usually do a lot of research around it to make sure you're bringing the right information. But sometimes we are doing a messy in between a one said, or we are doing a dilemma.
And the topic
we
just
don't
comes
know
up.
that topic was going to come up. So what you get out of our mouth is what is in our brain, and sometimes it's not always the right thing or the correct thing, But we say a lot of times like, but are we sure?
We do take our platform with a lot of responsibility as well. So it's not like we are trying to feed anyone any wrong information, but for sure we appreciate when you guys just changia, because we're just ordinary babes just trying to have a conversation. We haven't exhausted unlearning.
We haven't.
I feel like there are a million more points.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a part 2, guys. We're gonna do a part 2 because we haven't even touched majority of you guys' points, and some points were amazing. So we're gonna do a part 2. So stay tuned. You can actually tell us some of yours in this comments, and then so that other people can also know what they're unlearning.
Exactly.
I've loved this conversation. Another therapy conversation.
Just deep. So much to think about. Sometimes after an episode, I'm just like, I just sit on the bed. I'm just like,
There's actually, I feel like I've grown so much as a human being because of TMI, because I'm able to articulate so many of my thoughts. I'm able to discuss so many parts of myself. I was just like, did I even think that? I was curious about that.
And I saw someone even saying that they feel like, they were saying specifically about me, but I believe it's true for Lydia also, that there's a side of me that you guys only see on TMI that you never see on my own page.
Oh yeah, mostly because of how you're packaged.
Exactly, how I'm packaged. And I love that about this platform, because sometimes it's like, even before, like while we are having the conversation is when I even say something, I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize that's a feeling that I have, or that's what I believe kind of thing. I feel like this platform allows me to just be as raw, as authentic, as vulnerable as I possibly can be.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like there's so many more conversations that I would have had on my platform that I feel like come to TMI. And I love that this has become like my have it out platform. Don't worry, guys, I'm still doing it on my page. It's just like very different for TMI.
And it's not like there's a limit of topics that can be talked about.
Funny enough, there isn't. There isn't. We could go on and on and on and on. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for tuning on to this episode. Please let us know what you think in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, because being part of a community really truly means actually being part of the community. But wherever you are, wherever you're watching us or listening to us in the world, we love you. We appreciate you. We can't wait to see you on the next episode.
On part 2.
Bye.